what happens when you become the main source of a pain.
Ever heard that? What happens when Trump administration become the main source of the pain of the world? Look, these unemployed guys were in line for free foods, and these innocent kids were for sale. It's America, and it's 1930, the world's richest country brought to its knees. The Great Depression didn't begin with a stock market crash. It began with greed, speculation, and one fatal blow: tariffs. On June 1930, the Smoot-Hawley Tariff was born among the most catastrophic acts in congressional history. It was sponsored by Reed Owen Smoot and Willis Chapman Hawley, and intended to protect American farmers and other jobs. And previously, the Fordney-McCumber Act of 1922 was already pushed U.S. tariffs to an average of 38.5%. Then, the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act cranked it up to over 55%. Unfortunately, over 25 countries retaliated. That trade war led the global trade fell by over 60% by 1933. Grievances developed almost immediately. The increased tariff increases strained the economies of countries already suffering from the costs of rebuilding after World War I. One notable loser? Germany. They're struggling to repay war reparations to the U.S. and other victorious nations. And so Canada and Argentina, which saw massive unemployment. And the world economy went into a death spiral because it wasn't just two products. It hit over 20,000 goods, from canned tomatoes to cars to chemicals. Trade collapsed, and so did the world. Businesses shut down, banks vanished, people have no income. Children were sent away because parents couldn't feed them, and some just suicide. Not because they were weak, but because the shame of being a failure was louder than hope. Meanwhile, in Germany, desperation turned into anger, and anger looked for a scapegoat. Out of the ashes of hyperinflation and starvation, a new hope rose: Hitler. The Great Depression gave him his stage, and soon the world would pay for it. But not every story was about pain. In the colonies, something new was brewing. In the Dutch East Indies, sugar and rubber prices crashed. Farmers were starving, but the Dutch still demanded taxes. That's when people said, "Go f*** yourself." Muslims, Christians, Hindus, Buddhists, Javanese, Balinese, Chinese, Ambonese, all of them, for the first time, they didn't just ask for justice, they fought for freedom together, and that fire didn't die. A decade later, we called them Indonesian. So the Great Depression didn't just crash banks, it rewrote history. And increasing tariffs is a risky bet. It could protect a country, or it could send our kids away. Is it worth the risk?